So, back at the main stage here at Green Tech, we're now talking autonomous horticulture and especially robotics. And I'm delighted in the studio to be joined by Certhon's Edwin Vanlaerhoven. And we also have from Denso, Eske Ito. Warm greetings to you, gentlemen. Firstly, let's talk, Edwin, about the why. Why robots?
Because it gives an enormous opportunity in the world. There's a big problem with labor shortage, as you know, and we think we have the solution for that.
Okay, and Certhon is pushing the solution very hard.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Yeah.
Good. We have a little bit of a video to try and explain and to visualize things as to what we're going to see. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I would like to tell first shortly something about Certhon and about Denso to give it a little bit of context.
Absolutely.
And after that, we're going to speak about robotics and
Good. Give us an introduction very briefly.
Most people maybe in the sector know Certhon. We are doing horticulture projects all over the world for more than 100 years. Actually, almost 125 years. Focusing on turnkey, high-tech solutions worldwide. We have literally the technology to grow any crop anywhere in the world. So it's a very interesting, a very exciting business to be in. Our approach is slightly different from our competitors. We work not from a technology push perspective, but we always look for, from a customer perspective, based on a customer case. We look what kind of solution, what kind of design suits the customer best. It can be a Venlo greenhouse, it can be a semi-closed greenhouse, it can be a high-tech closed greenhouse with artificial cooling, but it can also be an indoor farm, because we're also in growing without daylight.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and employing robotics.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, that will be next step. And that's where our new co-shareholder, or co-owner Denso comes in.
Yeah.
Denso is one of the biggest players in the international automotive industry. They are part of the Toyota group, so a very big company who decided that they wanted to diversify also in other branches.
Yeah.
And so they are strong in producing car parts. I think 90% of the cars in the world have high-tech components. No, high-tech components of Denso under their body.
Yes.
But they're not only strong in producing these components, or in these components themselves, but actually more in producing them. Production. So they are leading in a leading company in robotics, process management, big data, machine learning, and they even have their own quantum computer.
And together you're bringing the power of that to horticulture.
Exactly. That's the reason why our company has a long-term focus. Denso has a long-term focus too. Both we want to be successful in horticulture, and that's the reason they become co-shareholder in Certhon.
Good.
So we are also a little bit of Denso.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we also opened a joint venture. We started a joint venture for the Asian market, which is called Denso Agritech Solutions, and we are co-owner there.
Understood. So big joint venture, if you like.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities, and yeah, very nice to work for such a company.
Good. Well, we'll talk about the future and where things are going probably in just a second. But should we get the video on now?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay.
And everybody has an idea where we currently are standing with robotics.
Closer look at where we are today. Exactly. Good. Okay, very impressive.
A very short movie, but hopefully it gives an idea where we currently are standing. So we have already a robot running in a greenhouse in Japan.
Yeah.
And yeah, next step will be how to take it to the next phase.
Is that a trial operation?
You could say like it is a proof of concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big proof of concept, because the project is called Agrit, and I think it's a 4-hectare greenhouse.
4 hectares.
So 4 hectares with a robot running inside.
So more than a trial laboratory.
You could say a big trial, yeah.
For sure. Okay. Shall we bring in Eske at this stage? Could you please describe what are the biggest technical challenges for using robotics in horticulture?
Yeah, I think to collaborate the robot and human, because currently the robot in industry factory, the robot is out the other side of the fence, safety fence.
Yeah.
So we start to consider about how to keep the safety then and improve the high speed operation and also I'm sure the judgment as like a human.
Yeah.
That is our challenge point.
Okay. So the interaction as well between humans and robots and how that can work best for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, of course, during walking, robot during walking, we can get much information from robot.
Yes.
So need to also that information to feedback the grower or the controller, something.
Yeah.
That is the biggest challenge point.
Understood. From a Certhon perspective, how do those technical challenges translate in coming up with a great solution?
That's a good question. What we will do is we have our own innovation center in Poeldijk.
Yeah.
In our innovation center, we can do all kinds of trials with the technology of tomorrow. Currently, we are developing the robot in Japan. But what we go do, we're going to bring the robots to the Netherlands in the center of horticulture. Sometimes we call it the Silicon Valley of worldwide horticulture. Our company is exactly in the middle of it. So we bring the robot there, we're going to co-develop it further, and we also get some big Dutch growers involved because we cannot do it on our own. We need to do it with growers together with us. So it will be Denso, Certhon. We open a new business for it, and then together with growers, we're going to co-develop this robot to the next phase.
We've talked a lot here at GreenTech about collaboration, co-creation, and the kind of joint venture which you have formed as well. And of course, that has to include all areas of the marketplace. We've also talked about the necessity to, on the one side, make sure that the crop growing expertise is there. And of course, humans possess that expertise. On the other side, like we were talking about a second ago, to make it easier as well to do the crop growing, so to facilitate things with robotization, for example. But do you have any backlash from the market, perhaps, about replacing people?
We always think that robots will always work together with humans, so there will always be this human interaction. Of course, there's a big shortage of labor in greenhouses, especially in the Netherlands and in America, where we focus on. So we're going to develop the Faro robot, as this one is called, further to work inside the greenhouse. So then we go to the more traditional concept where we have robots going inside the greenhouse, harvesting the fruit, maybe for other applications as well. But parallel to that, we're also developing future food systems. So we call it sometimes like a black box that you can literally put anywhere in the world where we can guarantee an output, and then the robots will be an integrated part of such a systems. So actually that's where we started, developing such a system. And it's really fantastic to work on such a thing. But we saw also that the market of existing greenhouses is so big, we decided to do both. And these black box systems, they need less labor in future, but there's still a way to go.
But the worry is not necessarily there that the crop growers, for example, are going to be replaced and everything will be completely autonomous, etc.
I think that's not the goal on itself. There are certain places, it depends on the situation.
Yes.
Actually, we want to give growers better tools to give them a bigger span of control.
Yes, yes.
And in some parts of the world, there are simply no growers. Yeah. There is the big demand for locally grown food. Yeah. Then you need to replace it somewhere, but because there is simply nothing there.
Is that the power of robots in other industries, like automotive as well? Is that what you see, that they are an additional support for humans?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
But not only the support. Of course, there's some operation completely the be automated.
Yeah.
But finally, the judgment for the improvement or that creates the something by human. That is most important.
Okay.
One.
But you talked about on the other side of the fence in
Yeah.
humans in a safe environment, and of course a robot can take on certain risky areas that humans cannot. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So what are the really biggest advantages of using the robotization, if you could summarize it? And what about the economics of using it? I mean, what kind of a return on investment are we looking at of investing in a robotized greenhouse, for example?
To start with the second question, the robot is just in the beginning of its potential, what's able with a robot. So actually, maybe it's not everywhere feasible, but you need to start somewhere. It will be more efficient, more productive over the next coming years. That's almost a no-brainer. And with human labor, it's the other way around. I think Dutch growers almost work as efficient as they can. There's no room for improvement there. And now with the viruses, with shortage of labor itself, so the quality of labor goes down. So the robot will be more and more becoming more interesting, and normal labor, human labor, will be less.
Yeah. Also for seasonal workers moving across country borders, perhaps it's more and more difficult at the moment to do this kind of thing.
And also a big advantage of robot now with all the pressure of viruses.
Yeah.
So not the COVID virus, but the viruses that the tomato growers are facing.
Yes, you don't want to bring those viruses into the greenhouse environment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the less people who go in the greenhouse, the more they like
the risk. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Please remember to send any questions you might have to our guests here. This is a golden opportunity to learn more about robotization and to ask your very specific questions. Let me go back to when we can expect to see this kind of technology from Certhon and Denso in more widespread use. The 4-hectare facility you have in Asia is obviously a very big start, but when maybe are we going to see the first harvesting robot available?
The first harvesting robot is actually already available.
It is, so this is the one.
But we're not going to sell it.
Okay.
So first we want to make it better, to learn more about all these questions you just asked before.
Yeah.
For that reason, we will bring it to the Netherlands, then together with some growers that we know well, so some major players in the Dutch tomato industry. We're going to learn where we currently are standing, what's room for improvement, what should be improved, and based on that we will step by step bring it to the next phase.
Okay, so it's an iterative process, but it's a question of months rather than decades.
Yeah, definitely yes. In case of months,
Good.
We're not thinking decades. It takes way too long. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. And how about the operations then in Asia with the joint venture that you formed there? How does that actually work in terms of you bringing the horticultural knowledge and skills into the Asian market together with Denso?
The joint venture that we have established in Japan is for sales and marketing. So it will be the representative company for Certhon on that market.
Yes.
What we will do, before this we were with 140 colleagues. Nowadays we are with 170,140 colleagues.
Wow.
So we're going to look at each. COVID give a little bit of delay in this process because personal meetings, then who are your colleagues, how is the company structured. So that's the phase where we currently are. So how about Denso's network worldwide? Because they have factories and all over the world. So how can we use that structure also for our business? So we're on that phase. That we're going to do. That's one thing we do together. And the other thing is R&D, and that's what we will do in our innovation center. So Eeske, some other colleagues of Eeske came already to the Netherlands. They live here. More will come. So we will learn a lot from Denso's R&D knowledge.
Good.
And to create new horticultural products.
Good. So you will be involved with working with the growers in the Netherlands, like you mentioned, and helping to optimize the solutions here? Yeah. Right. Good. Okay. So what is the sort of the long-term goal then, perhaps? We talked about it always being in addition to humans, but where do you see maybe the situation in, 10 years, for example?
especially for these new growing systems, I think we see a big world there, where the robot is an integrated integrated part, and together with the plant, because everything we do in Certhon, it always starts with the plant. We try to create the perfect environment of a plant, the perfect atmosphere. We can steer on a lot of variables to define how a plant should grow, to have a consistent quality, to guarantee a certain output. When we combine that with the robot, we can literally grow to the new concepts. Then it's almost endless what's possible. And also when the robot's going to collect the data of such a system, and we use artificial intelligence for this data, we can also steer the output of such a system, and we can combine it with or we can adjust it to the wishes of the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's
giving ultimate agility
exactly.
to perform according to the market needs.
The output of a greenhouse is not the same as the input of a supermarket, for example. And and when we can leverage that better, there will be less waste in the chain. There will be higher margins for all parties, and that will be. Hopefully we are there in a decade.
A big step forward in terms of efficiency and effectiveness and productivity. Yeah. We have a question which I'd like to come to right now. I'm going to expand this question. It's from Leo Landsbergen. Leo, thank you very much for your question. His question is, do you plan to develop robotics for other crops than tomatoes too? So, what, and I would expand it by what crops are most easy to use robots with? I don't know if you will take that.
We start with tomatoes because that's a very big crop. Also, the economies of scale of growers are big. So for us, these growers are able to do these kind of investments. After that, of course, we focus on capsicums, on bell peppers, and cucumbers as well, because cucumbers are the most labor-intensive crop that there is.
Is this mostly in the Netherlands, or is that going to be reflected in the Asian market as well? The different crops maybe that you're targeting in Asia?
No, we start in the Netherlands, North America, especially when you look to Canada. The Leamington area is a very famous production area. These are the parts where we start with, because we find a very big concentration of high-tech growers. And then you have also growers everywhere in the world for local production. That will be the step after that.
Excellent. We have another question, not on economics directly, but on the financial developments needed to mainstream the greenhouse robotics. So how can you really take this to scale, and what are the financial tools, perhaps, which you need in terms of investment to get there? And what will be the business model for the Faro robot?
First, we're going to define how good the robot really is and what the potential will be. And we have some different thoughts about it, about what kind of strategy we will take to bring it to the market. Will it be an investment for a customer, or are we going to offer it as a service? So there are different ways how to get there, and they're still all open.
Okay, all still very open. Thank you very much for that question. What is a Faro robot? Or Faro, F-A-R-O?
Yeah, F-A-R-O. The Faro is, let's see, I forgot, sorry.
Doesn't matter, that's okay.
Actually, it's that one, so
okay.
That's the name of that robot.
Oh, I see. Thank you, that's what it stands for. But looking to obviously, apply these robots in mass. Good. Good. Okay, with that, I think we'll conclude our session. Very interesting. You are available, of course, on our online marketplace to ask a lot more questions and for matchmaking. So anyone looking for business opportunities together with robotization, with Denso, with Certhon, or with the combination of Denso and Certhon, can find them and reach them there. I'd just like to say, Eske and Edwin, thank you very much for being here. The best of luck in your ventures. And we'll see, perhaps at GreenTech in 2021, how far the developments have come.
We'll definitely show you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.